So first of all, I'd like to say thank you to all our speakers and panelists today. It's been great. So a big round of applause, please, for all of them. It's about them we wouldn't have today. And so, yes, to finally wrap it up, the man who brought it to us, Mr. Kirk McDonald, President of PubMatic. Thank you. I'll join you on stage. Yeah.
We do want to say an amazing thank you to all of our speakers for today and all of our guests for being here. But we also want to take a minute to do one self-indulgent thing, correct?
Yep.
So we have one thing, and we're going to ask your patience to do this. I am so far off script right now, I'm looking for a shoe or something to come at me. But instead of throwing a shoe, I'd love to have join us on the stage Emma Newman, who is the VP of Marketing for EMEA and for APAC for PubMatic. And if Emma will join me, and then I think Sam, you're bringing something towards me as well. Emma.
We knew she'd like this.
So, again, purely self-indulgent, but we are going to borrow a little bit of your patience to do this. This is the third time that we've pulled off DREV here in the UK, and I hope you would agree with us. Ad revenue Europe this year was bigger and better than it has ever been before, and kind of event that we hope you'll come to again next year and again. And that is only made possible because someone actually pays attention to every single detail, from the badges that are magnetic all the way through every aspect of the day. And Emma, congratulations for putting on an amazing day for us. Thank you. Thanks for that. All right, so I am the last thing between you guys and Beverages. So I don't know why I get this spot. It's a horrible spot because there's no possible thing I can do to add to the day. Let me wrap up. I love the fact that we talk so much about consumers today. I love the fact that we talked about storytelling. Everything that caused me to get into media years and years and years ago, way too many to mention now, is still very true about the media industry. It is about telling amazing stories. I love the fact that we debated, is advertising content? I love Time Inc. redescribed as a content company. That was a job I had before I was here. Having the job of president of digital at Time Inc. was an amazing experience, and still gets me goose pimples when I think about the power of brands making consumer connections. But the consumer is different, and we know that. 4+ connected devices per person, 12 hours spent with media every day, 3,000 ad impressions, and we wonder why there's ad blindness. And then we hear data from Cisco that says that the world is pushing in a direction that threatens content being king, where relevance and cutting through the noise is there because of the fact that you could have a situation where you have 50 million connected devices, and that begins to be very, very challenging. And how do you do that? All right? Visualizing the future of consumption is key to actually cutting through this noise. And I think that gets more challenging when we think of a mobile-first, video-first world. All right? Ad dollars are beginning to follow, though. That's a great news, too. And I was loving the research we got today from Magna Global, as well as the data we got from the IAB. All speaks to the fact that things are heading in the right direction, and this gap in terms of spending, ad spend in mobile versus time spent is finally closing. Recently, we released a quarterly mobile index that is really built up or generated off of all the mobile activity on our platform. On a quarterly basis, we want to share with you interesting data that we're beginning to see, and it speaks to the fact that the mobile gap is closing, which is exciting news as well. So while there are challenges, there is still ample opportunity in areas like this. One of the interesting stats that came out as we released this report was the fact that CPMs for PMP are higher in mobile than they are in display. Just an interesting stat. The research from that is either in the bags you've got, or we'll make sure you get an access to it after this event. But all of these things speak to more opportunity than challenges. As I mentioned before, if the world is going to have more connected devices, we're simply going to have to get better at our jobs. 50 billion connected devices simply means that we can't allow ads to disappoint anymore. I love Gustav's point. It took ad blocking to catalyze us, to be the kick in the butt for publishers and marketers alike to realize that we can't put out bad ads, just as we can't put bad content out there. So, you know, it's interesting. I don't think ad blocking is the end of the publishing industry. It may be the catalyst for us to kind of wake up and get to the right conversations again. Where's our advanced storytelling? How do we make our impressions stand out among the crowd? The commodification of the ad industry is a function of more sameness. Sameness is laziness. That's what drives it. It's our unwillingness to really reinvest in the things that we do. I'm encouraged because you hung out all day with us. I'm encouraged because these panelists were all energized. I'm encouraged because the conversations are starting. This last panel was as dynamic as the one this morning because of the fact that this group is sitting there trying to figure out, do we get to band together around new standards that make our jobs more interesting and our connections points more robust? I love the discussion around ownership of that consumer relationship when I'm reliant on distribution platforms like Google and Facebook. How do I make my ownership point the real relevant point? Those are the opportunities I think are in front of us. Our job, by the way, as a technology company is to get out of your way. Now, that sounds strange coming from a technology company at a vendor conference, but everything about what we'd like to do is to fade into the background. If we do our jobs well, technology should disappear. We don't want to be the center of the conversation. We love the conversation moving back to strategy, moving back to the emotional connections that you can create when you tell your stories best. Because the world is now hyper-connected and because the consumer has so much technology in their hand, the only way you're going to do that is if you have the kind of global-scaled engineering resources that your biggest competitors and distribution partners, Facebook and Google, have. We know that our publishers can't manage 5 data centers around the globe and or process decisions in milliseconds. That's what we do. And we're going to do it across every single connection point that exists today and we anticipate in the future. If we do that well, this idea of identifying opportunities, qualifying them, planning and executing should work really well. And we should improve it both for buyers and for publishers. If we do our jobs well, we disappear and we return to strategy. And that strategy really is a strategy that you control. That's what we're excited about. And we want to again thank you all for spending the day with us, and applause to all of you. We have many members of our team who invited you here standing around who would love to buy you a drink outside. Reception kicks off 4 o'clock. Right now, we're a minute early, and we love that because that will remind you next time we'll give you a minute back in your day. But thank you all for joining us again today.